Hey there, welcome back to this week's episode of the C-Town Podcast, where Seattle business owners, entrepreneurs, and community leaders are invited on to share their stories with us. I'm your host, Christian Harris. This week's episode of the C-Town Podcast is brought to you by C-Town Real Estate. Their mission to make a difference extends beyond just their unique and unconventional approach with their clients and their agents. They partner with the community to give back a percentage of the proceeds from each home sale to a local nonprofit of their client's choice. Visit ctown.com, sea-town.com, and experience the difference with C-Town Real Estate today. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the C-Town Podcast. Today I'm joined by Kristine Atri, the owner of The Escape Artist in West Seattle. So, sounds very ominous. Tell us about the Escape Artist. What is that?
Absolutely. So, The Escape Artist is an escape room. It's specifically West Seattle's first escape room. And what is an escape room? I find myself being asked all the time. It's an interactive puzzle business where you search for clues, solve puzzles, and escape. We can't actually lock you in the room, but I do tell people we lock you. No, but it's fun. It's super immersive.
Okay.
And what sets us apart from the rest of the escape room industry is how much we've taken into account the immersion. We have the America's first full motion escape room, where our 13th floor experience, as I like to say, starts off in an elevator and it might move. So that's fun. And there's story involved.
Okay.
And that is an escape room.
Okay. Now, why do people go to an escape room? What's the draw? I've never been to one, obviously.
Oh, absolutely. So we take all kinds of people from all walks of life. Our minimum age is 11, but we've had younger. So birthday parties, special occasions, team building is huge.
Okay.
You learn a lot about your team when you're locked in a room together trying to solve puzzles with a common goal to escape. But the allure is really being able to unplug and have some good, clean fun, and you're solving a mystery or some sort of obstacle to overcome.
Sure. Have you, why escape room? I mean, it sounds like, you're kind of self-proclaimed escape room puzzle nerd.
Yes, indeed. With pride.
With pride. What got you into this? The business is, a few months old now?
It'll be 6 months next month, actually. Okay. Yes. June 8th is our 6-month anniversary.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
So the escape room industry and what the escape room is, for me, it was originally an escape. I first encountered it when I was in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
I was in the military, and I was stationed about 2 hours east of Austin, west. I was in Texas. And I went
you were
to...
in San Angelo, were you?
I was indeed in
okay.
San Angelo.
Yep.
Yes. So it's never again. But so we went to Austin for some fun. I was with some friends.
Okay.
And we went and we played and had a great time. And it was a zombie theme and like zombies, escaping from zombies. So, that was fun. Mm-hmm. And then when I was stationed in Augusta, Georgia, there was an escape room there. And I was like, oh, interesting. Next thing I know, I'm playing all of their rooms and loving it. And it's the thrill of it. It's being able to, whether you get out or not, it's the adventure that's inside. It's you solving these puzzles and learning more about the story that they have. And it's away from my computer, away from my phone. But really what it is, it's having fun. Mm-hmm. And it's so hard for people to have fun nowadays that doesn't deal with technology, their own technology. You're all at dinner together with your phones out. And that's terrible.
Right.
And so I like to see people have fun. I like people actually interacting with each other. You have no choice. You can't physically solve either of my rooms with just one person. Mm-hmm. And so it's about making a business that makes people happy. And I like to see them having fun and being happy.
Okay. I'm intrigued. I'm going to have to become a client. I'm going to try it out with some of my friends. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. What happens when people can't escape? Not very many people die, right? It's a pretty small percentage.
We do collect the bodies.
Okay.
No. So, especially in West Seattle, there are a lot of people like yourself who have never played an escape room. And so it's a lot of education. It's more about the experience. They want to have fun. And so you do get only 60 minutes to try to escape. Okay. However, if there is time, we can give people a little bit of extra time. They don't get the super exclusive winners only button, but they do get to say they solved it. And If they do under 50% of the room, though, we do offer a come back, try it again for 50% off just that room, so you can take your second shot at completing it.
Are there different like tiers, like the beginners versus the expert problem solver?
So interestingly enough, today, for instance, I had customers, it was their first time playing, and they got out with more than 10 minutes to spare on one adventure. And then on Mother's Day, we had a team, this was on their road trip alone. This was their 27th room. Whoa. So it's very experienced. And they went and they just destroyed my entire leaderboard. But it does say, show that beginners and experts can solve it together.
Okay. When you first started this business, what did you find most surprising or unexpected?
The Seattle permitting process. It's kind of hard to create a business around escaping. It's a new industry.
Okay.
And there's a lot of, there are many different ways to approach it. Different ways to consider an escape room. Is it an indoor sports arena? Is it a team building venue? What is it? Okay. And the city doesn't know. And we're trying to figure it out. And the business plan, the financials, everything, it's kind of hard to justify to a bank, hey, we want to lock people in a room for fun.
Sure.
And I've wrote up many business plans after I got out of the military, trying to find out what would work for me, coming up with a business that I'm passionate about. And with a strong business plan that takes many months to perfect, with having the way to navigate through the Seattle permitting process and talking to building inspectors and fire chiefs and everyone. That's what I learned, to understand it takes time. Okay. A lot of time and patience.
Right.
Yes.
Did you have to go it alone, or did you have a business partner to kind of help carry some of that burden? Or?
I had the biggest support, which is my husband. He took the burden of our personal life to let me pursue my dream. But through that, it was me going out, finding the right people to talk to, and going through the entire process, a lot of research. So I had him to support me at home when I was able to pursue this, but I am a pro at the Seattle permitting process, and that's because of all the research I had to do.
Yeah.
City planning, my favorite place. So.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice. Now maybe give us a little backstory. Now you mentioned you were in the Air Force. Now, are you from Seattle? You just kind of ended up landing here?
I'm from Buffalo, New York.
Okay.
Which I'm so happy there's no snow here like there is there.
Right.
But I graduated from University at Buffalo in business and psychology. And then I happened to graduate during a wonderful recession. But it's okay, because I went and I joined the Air Force, and I had an outstanding experience. Okay. I learned a lot of new skills, but I was active duty for 4 years, and now I'm in the reserves for 2 years right now.
Okay.
And after I got out of active duty military January of 2017.
Okay.
And you lose a lot of purpose when your life was very regimented in one way. I learned a lot of discipline. I learned how to work with people of all different backgrounds. So that was probably the most beneficial thing I could have had, along with my educational background, to kind of come here. My husband, he works here. And so I came here and I fell in love with Seattle.
Okay.
Was specifically West Seattle. That was my choice. He was living downtown. I looked it up, fell in love with West Seattle. We had an apartment here before I had actually visited. And I'm so glad I took that risk.
Yeah, that's awesome. So did you meet your husband in the military, or?
Nope, I met him in college.
Okay, yeah, and he ended up coming here, and you guys had a relationship, so you landed here?
Yep, he flew from Seattle to Atlanta every other weekend for 2 years, because I was stationed there and he couldn't come there.
Right.
So
it's dedication.
It is dedication, but that is the theme of our relationship, where he trusted me to handle the business.
Yeah.
So that's dedication.
Yeah. Well, it must be nice being located in the same city now.
Yes.
Not have to travel so far to see each other.
Very, very true.
Right. Tell us a little background on your Air Force experience. I mean, did you develop some skills there that have translated into opening your own business? Or?
Oh, absolutely. So I was a sergeant, and so I learned the responsibilities of being a sergeant.
Yep.
Not only having people underneath me, but knowing how to get things done efficiently. Mm-hmm. And I think the main thing I learned way back early on in basic training is to kind of accept your situation is going to improve. It might not be the best at the moment. Mm-hmm. Basic training, that's waking up at 4:45 in the morning and
doing PT.
Yes, indeed, best shape of my life. Uh-huh. But I think what I really took away from the military is that you can change your situation and you can constantly improve upon yourself. Mm-hmm. I had the benefit where my specific line of work, the better you did, the more responsibility you took on. And so they actually put me in charge of training, not like from basic training, but within our specific job. I was a subject matter expert, and I got to bring our new people in and really show them around. But having that ability to train people is actually what makes it great here, because in an escape room industry that no one knows about, I spend so much time educating.
Sure.
And my own game masters. So the position, when you walk in, the first person you're greeted by is the game master, your host or hostess. Mm-hmm. A lot of training there. So being able to have my determination from the military as well as ability to train people is, I think, what's really helped me with this business.
Okay. What was your, I forget what the Air Force equivalent is, what was your MOS? What was your job?
It's an AFSC. Yes. I was a linguist.
Okay.
So they taught me how to speak a few different languages. Got to spend some time in beautiful Monterey, California. And then they sent me to San Angelo, Texas. But no, that was fun. So I did actually get to teach language as well. Mm-hmm. So being able to teach people, again, is a recurring theme in my success for my business.
Sure. Okay.
It's okay.
Do you still get a chance to use your language at all? Or?
I mostly, nowadays, just because I enjoy it, I still keep up with it. I am still fluent.
Okay.
But I actually, with my reserve duty, I work in education and training now, and I just stood up the language testing capability there.
Nice.
So I get to keep current on my language.
Yep. What would you say that you're passionate about?
Puzzles.
Puzzles, okay. Have you always been kind of problem solver, like even before your exposure to escape rooms?
Oh, yes. I'm very analytical. I grew up playing... Not Risk. Oh my goodness. Myst. There we go. I grew up playing Myst and those games. Nancy Drew.
Okay.
Reading, of course, the Nancy Drew novels, and then playing their computer games. It's always the mysteries you got to solve.
Okay.
So that's fun. I'm also a pro at hide and seek, so strategy there.
Sure.
Oh, yes.
If you had to do over again regarding starting your business, what would you do differently?
I would have researched the Seattle permitting process sooner. No, I don't. It's been such an excellent learning experience. Exhausting. I would tell myself to not get so stressed out all the time about the little things.
Sure.
That you just have to roll with the punches. This has been the most difficult thing I've ever done in my entire life, and while thinking back on it, I've loved every second, but I didn't love the stress of, the building inspector's coming tomorrow, or is our permit going to get approved, or the hoops you have to go through for financing, things of that nature. And also, I think I wasn't expecting the toll it would take on family life. I imagine, I've gotten in trouble for this before, likening my business to a newborn baby, because I'm not responsible for keeping my business alive in the way that you keep a human being alive. But it's very similar. Every conversation is dominated by the business. I'm constantly on my phone, making sure that everything is going smoothly.
Sure.
But I'm just so grateful that my husband's been there with me every step of the way.
Mm-hmm. Now, with the business, are you the only employee, or are there other people so you don't have to be there 24/7? Or?
So my husband, he is a co-owner of it. He's there mostly if I can't fix something. He will fix it for me. But no, we do have employees.
Okay.
And actually, I take it back, cut out the co-owner part. He doesn't want people to know that. Sorry about that.
Okay.
So I'll say I do have employees right now. We are hiring, always hiring. We are looking to expand within our business with adding more rooms into it. But right now I have 3 staff, and they're amazing. But I can tell you, before I had them, I was there from 11 in the morning till 1 in the morning the next day. I do get to sleep now a little bit. It's great.
That's nice.
Get to do things like my laundry. We have date night now. It's Wednesday nights.
Sure.
So, yes. Without them, it's too much to handle with one person.
Okay. Now, with owning an escape room, what do you do to get your escape room fixed? I mean, you can't go to your own escape room. You know all the answers.
I have played all of the other escape rooms here in Seattle.
Okay.
There are more popping up.
Mm-hmm.
We say popping up, it's because I've been in my little hole and haven't realized others exist for a while.
Yeah.
But no, I do play. I've played 42 escape rooms. I'm playing my 43rd tomorrow.
Wow.
And I used to think that was a good number. And then I meet some of my customers who've played 200 or 300, which I'm jealous of. I wish I could play that many. I'm getting there.
Seems like a full-time job finding that many.
Yeah, well, you'd be surprised.
Okay.
In Seattle, there are quite a few great ones. I mean, I'm biased. Mine's excellent. It's the first of its kind here in the U.S. with the full motion aspect. But when I need my escape room fix, when I just want to be a regular player, I do go to the other places in Seattle.
Okay. Would you say there's anything particular in pop culture that's making them more popular? Like, I know there's like an Office episode that, featured them being in an escape room.
Yep. I have quite a few customers mention the Big Bang Theory episode where you don't get your money back for, how fast you get out. Just joking about that because they're smart. They got through it like that. But the other aspects of pop culture, I find a lot of younger people, parents have told me, yeah, my kid, he saw this on YouTube, and they're watching escape room videos on YouTube. Celebrities are doing escape rooms now.
Okay.
So I think that's happening. People think of Saw a lot. And I used to say it's nothing like Saw, except I played a Saw-themed room.
Huh.
Horrifying.
That would be.
It was awesome. I will never forget about it. They put a burlap sack over my head and a padlock around my neck. We don't do that here.
Sure, that seems...
That was on the East Coast.
Yeah. Seems borderline something.
Would not have passed fire code.
Yeah.
No, we're very concerned with people's safety and enjoyment here. We don't have scary rooms. We have a little bit of suspense, but a lot of people think of Saw, and I have to tell them, no, it is not like Saw,
sure,
unless you play a Saw
That'll
theme.
be terrifying.
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Some people like to be terrified.
Yep.
So.
If you're into that, there are famous ones in Vegas and LA that are horror themed. So
makes sense. A little more edgy there.
Yes, indeed.
As you've gotten, transitioned from the military life into owning your own business, what would you say some of the best advice you've received along the way has been?
Make friends. The military is a community where everyone is together. You're never doing anything alone. And when I got out, I realized, especially with starting a business, I felt really isolated. I didn't have anyone else that I could speak to about it, that I could, lean on until I found a mentor. And I've finally been able to find the right organizations to reach out with the community. And I firmly believe it takes a community to build a business. And so since then, life has gotten so much, not easier, it's still the same, but more supportive. Other businesses, because now it's not so much the escape room industry, it's the small business industry. Sure. And finding other small business owners has been probably the most beneficial thing I could have ever done.
Okay. What would you say have been some of those places that you've found that community here in West Seattle, whether, business community or just the regular, West Seattle?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm located in right in the heart of the Alaska Junction, and one of the businesses there is Jan's Beauty Supply that I'm in the same building.
Okay.
And I'd go in there every day just talking and hearing their story about how they started. So that, started there, and then Laura Swift from the Junction Association, she reached out So did the West Seattle blog, actually. So, like, that was, like, the first, like, oh, people talk to me. That's excellent. From there, though, I'm part of the Junction Association. I'm part of the Chamber of Commerce, which has been excellent.
Right, which is how we met.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. And Rico, I think it's Rico Smith.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
He
Rico's
actually...
Auto Buff.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, Rico, he reached out to me and he's like, come to a meeting for BNI. I had no idea what BNI was. It's awesome.
Sure.
And they have multiple chapters here. I don't know what BNI stands for, but I do know...
Business Networking International,
That
sounds good. I'm sticking with it. Yeah.
I'm sticking with it. Business Networking International. That's what they do.
All right.
Though. And that was actually that moment of community for me, where it's just so many small business owners.
Sure.
And they all talk about their struggles and their triumphs. And that was overwhelming. That was incredible.
Yeah. So you tell me that the BNI chapter did not have their slot for escape room industry filled. Wow,
Correct.
You were lucky.
I know, and it's an honor to possibly take that slot.
Yeah, that's awesome. What would you say is a personal habit that contributes to your success?
I have many. No. I'd say my undying positivity.
Okay.
My optimism. It's realistic, but I know things will get better. If I throw myself headfirst into something, throw everything into it, good things will happen. It will just take time. That's been, I took a risk having a long distance relationship, and now starting a business, and I am determined to see it through.
Yeah, that's great. Sounds very optimistic.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Do you have a specific technology or quote life hack that has changed your life or amplified your business?
I have two.
Okay.
One, mobile hotspot. Being before the business actually had a brick and mortar. I'm all over the place trying to figure things out, get things done, and it's so small. So mobile hotspot, it's so funny, but just being able to work wherever I am. But no, the other one that I think is more essential to me is it's called Trello.
Yes.
Yes, Trello is incredible.
It is incredible.
I can't remember anything nowadays unless it's written down, and Trello keeps me on top of it.
Yeah. I'm going to edit this in here,
yes.
But I wanted to say, it's funny you mentioned Laura Smith and the West Seattle blog because both of them have been guests on the podcast.
Really?
And it's been fun. Laura's will have by the
Swift.
time what did I say?
Fast Smith.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I'm going to do that part over again. Well, it's funny that you mentioned Laura Swift and the West Seattle blog because they've been guests on this podcast. By the time this episode airs, it will have been the last episode that Laura's on. So at the time of this recording, not live yet, but I have had Tracy on here, one of the co-owners of the West Seattle blog, and both of those organizations are great, community builders and supporter of the West Seattle and the business communities. But yeah, those are great people to get involved with to be connected to organizations around town. But
well, it's funny, specifically the way that both Tracy and Laura have, I guess, come across me and actually really helped me. Being a small business owner is the day our building permit went up into the network. It wasn't even approved. It was just declared of we want to have this business here. The next day, got an email from Tracy. And she's like, hi, we'd really love to do an interview with you. And I'm like, I don't even have a lease yet, but absolutely. And, she really got the word out. And for the first 3 months, it was really apparent that people who read her blog, that's how they were learning about us.
Oh, yeah.
And I can remember distinctly, the first few months it was very much like, yeah, we read about you on the West Seattle blog. We wanted to come check you out. Because she did a follow-up after we were actually about to open. And then Laura, before we had finalized our lease, but we knew we were going to be there. It's just paperwork. Takes forever. We really wanted to be part of the Summerfest last year. And so 3 weeks before Summerfest, I reached out to Laura and I was like, we'd really like to be involved. It'd be great. We have something awesome. Is there any room? And actually where we're going to be this year, same place, because there was an opening for where we actually ended up being, we had our big red box. I don't know if you saw it if you happened to walk there last year, but our big red box full of mystery. It was our 10-minute mobile escape game. So last year was Secret Agent 22. This year is a mystery, but it's going to be even better.
Okay, I have to make sure to go out to the summer fest to see what the mystery is.
Absolutely. Yeah. But it is just interesting, specifically with Tracy and Laura. Mm-hmm. They took interest and they really helped me establish myself here in the community.
Yeah, they're great people, so great organizations. Do you listen to podcasts?
I do.
What's your favorite?
I like to scare myself.
Okay.
When I drive, it keeps me awake. So it was for a while, it was ghost stories.
Okay.
And lately, it's more of, I realize I shouldn't scare myself, but I should keep things interesting. Lately, it's been Astonishing Legends. I know more about the Amelia Earhart disappearance than I ever learned in school.
Okay.
And things like Resurrection Mary, which is a really popular ghost story in Chicago. Huh. I'm waiting for Seattle Legends.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating.
Do you have a favorite movie?
At the moment, it's Guardians of the Galaxy, both of them.
Okay.
I love Groot.
Okay.
He's awesome.
It's pretty good.
He is. I'm not letting myself watch the new Avengers because I haven't seen all of the Avengers yet. I'm missing like 3.
Okay.
It's devastating because I want to see Infinity Wars so badly.
Yeah, okay.
But I like the superhero type of thing.
Sure,
Wonder Woman, amazing.
Yeah, that's fun. So. We just watched Justice League, which is pretty good.
Yes. I think I watched that. Yes, I did.
Right.
Yep.
Memory's kicking in.
Yep.
If you could recommend just one book to our listeners, what would it be?
So this is tapping a little bit into my military background. But I know they made a movie adaptation of it. It was an excellent movie, but it was Lone Survivor by Marcus Luttrell.
Okay.
It's just a book that had such a profound impact on me. And, if you're not into military history, military stories, I understand. But the reason I recommend it is because it tells about someone who truly thought it was the end for them and they didn't give up. And it makes all of my problems with struggles with my business seem very tiny, very, very manageable.
Sure.
I mean, it's not life or death. I know that, I might suffer from economic downturns and things of that, but I'm not on a mountainside in Afghanistan where all of my comrades had just had terrible things happen to them.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's definitely something about going to combat that puts life in perspective.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
I can offer another book, though, if we don't want to get into the military side. Yeah, I think it's an excellent book. Yeah. But there's another one. Okay. It's called Radical Acceptance. I don't actually have the author's name off the top of my head, but Radical Acceptance is basically if you are someone who can have their entire day ruined based on the guilt you feel for accidentally overeating an entire carton of Oreos, and that's just really taking a negative toll on your life, you need to learn to accept your fate. You need to learn radical acceptance, which that's the not serious version of it, but it's basically the Buddhist principles about learning to accept where you are, who you are, and not suffering from things like guilt when it's something insignificant, like the Oreos, hypothetically speaking. That didn't happen recently. Accept this happened, and I'm going to try and do better in the future and practice self-restraint.
Sure.
Or actually going to the gym. So that's an easier book to digest.
Okay. So as we wrap up here, do you have a piece of parting guidance or word of wisdom you could share with our listeners?
Absolutely. Creating and owning a small business is extremely difficult, but extremely rewarding. You get a real sense of purpose, and there's nothing wrong with having a 9-to-5 job for I'm sure a great organization somewhere else in the workforce. But if you truly want to be an entrepreneur and you are up for the challenge of losing a lot of sleep at the end, it is worth it. And that is really what I've learned with having my own business.
Sure. So what's the best way for listeners to get a hold of you, or if they want to reserve their space in the escape room?
Absolutely. So at the Escape Artist, we have our website, which is www.goescapeartist.com. That's where you can see our bookings and available slots. However, it is so nice that you had me on the show today, and I do want to offer to your listeners a 10% discount.
Okay.
And it is C-Town, one word, no dash in the middle, all caps, but you enter C-Town and you get 10% off.
Oh, very nice. Well, I appreciate that. We'll have to make sure to promote that out, hopefully get some more business your way.
Well, thank you.
I'll probably take advantage of that discount code. So, well, thank you very much for being a guest on the podcast. This was a lot of fun. I learned a lot about escape rooms and your journey. So I'd highly encourage our listeners to go visit you and see for themselves all the excitement that is a escape room.
Well, thank you very much.
That wraps up this week's episode. Make sure to check out our guest website, pay them a visit, and help spread the word about what they are doing. If you have any questions, know someone who should be a guest on here, or has a great story worth sharing, email me at christianharris@seatown.com. That's sea-town.com. I would also love it if you would go to iTunes and give us a review and a nice 5-star rating. We work hard to bring on great guests and provide exceptional content, and getting a review from you is one way to help the podcast rank well on iTunes so others can find and enjoy the show. You can also find out more about me, how my real estate brokerage is breaking the mold and making a difference in our Seattle communities, and other projects I'm working on by visiting seatown.com, sea-town.com. Thanks for listening. The music for our podcast is courtesy of the Fascination Movement. You can find their albums in the iTunes Store. You can also listen to more episodes and find all our show notes on our website at seatownpodcast.com. This has been a Seatown Media production.